This presentation is not meant to be all-encompassing. It's supposed to give you kind of a top-level overview, and then I do have additional resources at the end. A lot of your volunteers get really confused about the difference between My.Scouting and Scoutbook. My.Scouting and Scoutbook use the same credentials, so the same username and password should work for both My.Scouting and Scoutbook. Today, we're just going to talk about Scoutbook. Scoutbook basically defaults and makes the key 3 automatically administrators for your entire unit. And I recommend that most units then grant administrative rights to a couple of other people. So committee chairs, cub masters, this is a great opportunity for you to get somebody who's maybe tech savvy and maybe can't make the meeting to help you by being a Scoutbook administrator. Your unit roster is preloaded based on your registration. Something we've noticed as we've done the Webelos transfer applications is some of those Webelos apparently got missed at rechartering. So going back into My.Scouting and checking your member manager is important. If you're not seeing a scout in Scoutbook, there's a high probability that he or she is not actually registered to your pack. All right, so basically when you log into Scoutbook for the first time, you're going to get this screen that I've got in the back of the slide. What you want to click is My Dashboard. When you click on My Dashboard, then you're going to get the screen in front. When you first log in, if you haven't set up things prior to that, this would say DENS, and it would be empty. It would say 0. So you can see I've got the red arrow pointing to how do you add a patrol in a pack. It's going to say add den. And then you're basically going to get an empty den. So this looks like it's got no adult leaders on the left side. It's got no scouts on the right side. So you're going to reassign scouts. That's going to pull up your roster. You're going to name a den. Den 1, you're going to click all the scouts in that den. You're going to click invite, and that's basically going to populate and build your patrol. Once you've done that, you're going to do a similar system in order to add the den leaders. Now, again, we've had some challenges because we're discovering that not all den leaders are registered den leaders. We have a couple of cases, for instance, where a committee chair is also acting as a den leader and can only hold one position code. So I really strongly encourage you to have an assistant den leader that can register as such, and that should help with those permissions there. So once you get a den built, so in this case, this is den number 2. You can see on the left that they've assigned a den leader, and that den leader is also the den administrator. So you might be able to see that little tiny key icon, the one key means that Jason Test has administrative rights for his den, and then he's got 4 scouts in his den. So once dens are complete, we're going to go back. All of your dens then should be listed on that dashboard page. And theoretically now, all of your scouts have been put into dens, and every den looks like this. Now we're ready to make sure that their advancement is recorded. At the bottom of this page now, there are several options, and my favorite option is quick entry, because if I click quick entry and then whatever I want to enter, so in this case we're talking about the arrow of light, so that's a rank requirement. I do a couple of clicks. I get to pick the rank, so in back here you can see they use the example of the bear rank. And basically, it's a fill-in form. So you choose your rank, you choose the date it was completed. It's really important to add that date. And then you can see in the front screen, that's where I've got the bottom of the long screen. You click all of the cubs that completed their requirements. You click save, and it's recorded. Now, here's where some units are having trouble. They're seeing green check marks. So a green check mark means that it was complete. But if it doesn't have a blue check mark, which means approved by an authority, it won't sync to the national database. So that's where the problem is if we have den leaders who aren't registered or aren't set up correctly in Scoutbook, they're putting requirements in, they're seeing green check marks, and then it takes a Key 3 member to turn those into blue check marks. So if you're looking at your scout book and you're like, hey, those arrow of lights are there, but you're seeing green check marks, we need to figure out who the approval authority is. And again, often the committee chair can hit approve and it will all clear up. The boxes will turn blue, or the cub master can approve it. It will turn blue, and everybody will then sync to the national database. And indeed, here you can see, as a cub master, a committee chair, or a den leader, you can pull up this needs approval report and basically do it all at once. When you want to confirm that you think you did it right in Scoutbook, but you're not sure, I recommend this is when the Key 3 go back into my.scouting. So get out of Scoutbook, go into my.scouting, and in your member manager, you can pull up a youth roster. And there's an icon to pull up your youth member report. When you pull up that youth member age report, you're going to get a report. Those black boxes are covering names and BSA ID numbers. You're getting youth members. That makes sense. In the next box, you see something that says Bear/Webelos. Bear is the last rank recorded in the national system. Webelos is the level at which that scout is registered. So if we take that very first example that says youth member Bear/Webelos 11, that's telling me that, in this case, it was a young man, is 11 years old. He's a registered Webelos. At 11, he might actually be a senior Webelo. He might actually be an Arrow of Light. But his Webelos rank was never recorded, and his Arrow of Light was never recorded. You can see that on the second page, that last example as well. We have a young man who's 12. He earned Bobcat. He's currently a registered Webelos. He's probably a senior Webelo at age 12, unless he has special needs. And his Arrow of Light has not yet been recorded. So this is the way, when I'm processing your transfers for your Webelos who crossed over, this is how I go to check to see if those Arrow of Lights got recorded. If they did not, I'm sending you all notes. I'm sending it normally to the Cub Master and Committee Chair. I CC your Advancement Chair if I know who that is. And I ask you to work with us to make sure that those Arrow of Lights get recorded. It's much easier to record the Arrow of Light before the Webelos process their transfer application with the new troop. Now, there's a couple I've missed, and there are ways that we can go back and put notes in that Scout's record. But again, if we do it right the first time round, it should save us all some additional paperwork. So here are some handy references. The first website is for just actually that getting started, how to set up your unit. That video takes about half an hour. I know personally, I put it on 2 times the normal speed, so it only takes about 15 minutes. And then the second video specifically talks about advancement. Finally, I really encourage you to employ commissioner coaching, either with your servicing commissioner of your service area or with me. I personally find it much easier if we just get together on Blue Jeans like this. You share your screen with me and the rest of your team, and I talk you through it, and then it's done. Keep an eye on that Pacifica webpage and our Pacifica Facebook, because our webmaster Jay is just rocking it, and he's got stuff there all the time. So it's a much more up-to-date and interactive interface. And again, if you have questions, comments, or suggestions, please let us know.